Hey, this is my video response to Donna, aka by the username PANICthenFALL, who is a new member in our VC community. I keep saying VC community in my last video too. C already stands for community. In our community, or the VC. Her and her friend Jess, a vinyl music lover, who recently joined. And you know, I did leave a couple comments, and you know, I mentioned in my last video too, because I'm excited because I feel like they bring a natural excitement to the community. I mean, I've watched other people start off with their new videos as well. Since I've been around, I've seen some new people come on who I've been following, but it seemed like they already knew more information than I did. You know what I mean, about their music, or they chose stuff I never heard of. And maybe I'm relating well to you guys because you're showing the same albums that I was just seeing and being like, who is this? Who is this? When I first started the community back in November, which really wasn't that long ago. December, January, February, March, like 4 months now, and man, like, my mind's blown at how far I've come and what artists I've found out about and what becomes familiar for me when I think of music in my head lately, you know? I was thinking maybe I could have pre-planned this and had some better things of what to tell you to look for, but I figured I'd just speak my mind on it. And maybe show you some records just randomly and that I have stacked up off on the whim, just tell you how I came across this and what made me think about it. When I got my vinyl records, the first thing I did was I went to a Salvation Army. I looked at what they had, and I picked out a sleeve I think that was appealing to me, from what I remember. Now if you have a smartphone, which a lot of people do, if you have internet access that's easy to get to on your phone, I would recommend, what I like to do is I like to search the artist and the album title in Google, and if it comes up, and I might be able to type in Blogspot, so I can see what people say on it as a fan or a listener like me, rather than a critic. I type in Blogspot for blog searching. But you know, it's I like doing that, and then getting a gist of the history of the album or what they're about, you know. And I will be honest with you, like, I'd like to see all music and see like what the number stars are, and like, I don't want to say it that way and be like I'm not anti-critic at all, but I'm also not like, I don't want to go on the whim and say that I always go and like, there's some albums I like a lot that other critics just don't like. The critics just don't like, but I will be honest with you, it was definitely, I definitely can see how going by, you know, moving forward from seeing a good review on the stars thing would tamper me from finding out things that I might end up loving that I never knew about because of not deciding to go ahead with it because of seeing what a review is, you know. But it is what it is. It's a good way to get started. Sleeves, you know, like I said, like I mentioned, like the covers are really great to look at. If you're going to do it, and you're going to do it at a thrift store, it's not that big of a deal. Because if you can find records for 25 cents or 50 cents a piece, in the long run, if you have some good cash in you, you're not going to be so upset disappointed. It's a bigger deal, you know, if you're going to go out there and spend $10, $15, $20 on a record and not know anything about it and not be happy, because that's $20, you know what I mean? $5, still not good to have to do it, you know? $2 or $3, maybe. But the lower you stay on the price, and the better you can find it for the value and the price, the better off you are with getting started. Man, I've learned new things about myself with music that I never really knew until the vinyl community. Like, I've learned through my record collecting that I really like certain sleeves. I like lots of things, but I have a very particular love for, you know, up close and personal faces. Caught in the act faces, like, you know, if someone's singing in a passionate way, or something like that, you know. I've also learned that I'm become fascinated with folk, and like, it's not even in a way with the folk music where I'm like always blown away. Like, I might have one record that's not folk, that's like an amazing hip hop album that might blow me away music wise a lot more than the folk record it does. But there's some sort of aura and some sort of fascination I have with folk music in terms of the lyrics. So the music's not always my favorite thing, but I'm intrigued by what folk music represents and what it's about. So I've been going a lot more into folk lately. And I used to never do this as much, you know, because I never went so far back in time with my albums. The first record I remember buying, there's two of them. One was Vicky Carr, who's an old singer, female singer, and I really like the record. I keep it. Now I don't get any more of hers because I don't think I really need to have any more. But I like her, and I keep the one I have. Then I also got Return to Forever. Now Return to Forever, man, I wish I could have found the sleeve, the cover of the album, but I can't find it right now. It'd be waste too much time in video. The album is called Romantic Warrior. Just search on Google, Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior, and you'll see that the cover is just ridiculous. It's this huge, like, medieval knight, you know, it's just this romantic warrior, Return to Forever, and it just looks so cheesy and looks ridiculous, and it's just, like, it looks amazing, you know? And on the back has their, like, faces, and you're like, who are these guys? But, you know, I'm also intrigued, like, maybe if you like longer songs, you know, like, look for things like that. If you like longer songs and there's lengths on the back, go for it. Like, if you like a song that changes up and has some more length to it, and you see a song on the back of a record that has an 8-minute track, like, usually when there's an 8-minute track to a song, they're usually doing something that's pretty interesting, and if not, at least they're trying to, you know what I mean? If there's songs that are all 2 minutes, I'm not usually going to buy it. If it's normal length, that's fine, but if I see something that's like 2.5 minutes, I could be missing out, but I don't buy it. Some Beatles songs are too short for me. It was Return Forever, the Romantic Warrior album, and I ended up putting it on. The first thing I put on, and I was blown away by it. And then I talked to some friends about it, a guy from home who knows his, like, you know, knows jazz in some way, and I told him, you know, oh yeah, there's a guy here, it looks like the bass player is famous, his name is Stanley Clarke. And they were like, oh yeah, Stanley Clarke, you know. And another thing is, you start to notice people's names on the back of the vinyls. Like, you know how vinyls are, another reason that vinyls are great and different than CDs is that you don't have a fascination to really look at the CD in detail as much. But when a vinyl's big and you're looking at it, it's a fun thing. It's like opening up a book and you see names on the back, especially with jazz, but I'm not too big on jazz, but I know this happens. You start to see the same names appear on other albums. And then you're like, oh, well, I remember, like, that guy was on there. That album's pretty good. Let me check this out, you know? And then, next thing you know, you start branching and branching. You slowly build. I hope this is getting somewhere with you. I could probably say a lot more good things, but for now I'm going to settle. Let me show you what I was thinking about doing, is just going through things and speaking how I got into it. Let me put the flash on here. Now, this right here is what you're listening to. There's a lot of people in the vinyl community that are down with the band this guy's from. This is Anthony Phillips' first album, The Geese and the Ghost, and it's from the band Genesis. Now, I never even listened to Genesis before. I knew the name Peter Gabriel, another previous member of the band, but I never even listened to him and, like, knew that he was from Genesis. I just knew the names. Got a little bit interested in Genesis, but from the outside in. I didn't get really into the band then. I still only have one album of them. I'm actually more into the Peter Gabriel's one album I have. And then a guy named Chris, if I have it, I'm pretty sure I have it right, by the name of Ollie Rules on YouTube, he discussed Anthony Phillips and was describing his work. And I was like, man, this sounds really fascinating. Now, look at this sleeve. This, to me, looks like something that is incredible, that I would buy, you know? It turns out it's really, really great music, a lot of classical influence. I'm also interested when I see labels that I've never heard of. So when I see a new label that I've never seen before, it intrigues me to pick it up, because then if I like that, you know what else you might want to do? If you like an album from a certain label, you might want to dig into the label. If it's not a huge label like Warner Brothers or RCA, then you might have some good luck with, you know, finding, might have some good luck with coming across, if it's a smaller label, with coming across new artists that you never heard of. Another amazing cover right here. How sick is that cover? Now, hear about this. You know how I got into Nelson Riddle? Because Nelson Riddle did compositions on a Frank Sinatra record I had. So I said, hey, this is Nelson Riddle. And that is a very famous photo, and in my mind, it's an amazing album cover. The music's good. I only listened to it once or twice, but I know I want to keep it, because when I listen to it, I enjoy it. But it's like lounge, bachelor music for the bachelor pad I do not have and will never have. But, you know, who's not intrigued, right? And Witchcraft is a very famous song from Frank Sinatra. my girl. Now this is someone I got into a couple of years ago. This is Phyllis Hyman. Hip hop does a lot for me in terms of samples. I'm a very, very big hip hop person. With being into hip hop, back in 05, 06, when I started spending a lot more time on listening to production and getting into who produced what beat and stuff, I focused on the samples and where they came from. This is Phyllis Hyman is a really popular singer who tragically ended up committing suicide, who I got familiar with and ended up enjoying because of hearing samples of her from a beat tape where a guy sampled all of her music on all of the beats on the CD. This is Nina Simone. You remember how I got into her? I know my buddy Jeremy, one of my closest friends from home, really liked her, and she's sort of just a household name in terms of really great music. Very, very great vocals, and this is a later period of hers I just recently took off the shelf and started discovering that I really enjoy. Like for your friend Jess, for example, like Jess is really into vocals right now. If you're into vocalists, focus on the vocalist. Nina Simone's a great one. Singers, you know, no backup bands, just solo singers. I'm still planning on doing a review for this guy. Now that's a record I bought simply off a sleeve and because of titles. You know? Look at that. Plus, first of all, you know the guy, this is like the folky stuff I'm really into by aspect, you know, in terms of like what I look for in a great folk record. And, you know, a guy with a guitar walking into a barnish area. Now when you see songs named To Rebecca, Rainy Day Resolution, sorry about that light, Monday Morning Strangers, Following My Lord, those are songs that attract me, you know? Like if you see titles of songs that seem interesting enough, then go for it. And if it's a used version, another thing, if it's a used record and there's an inner sleeve or a or a lyric sheet or a sleeve with lyrics on it, read the lyrics. If you see lyrics that are intriguing to you, like you mentioned you like John Mayer. I love John Mayer. Now I think John Mayer is an amazing lyricist as well as a musician and gets a lot of good things to point across in his lyrics that are very subtle and great. Like, you know, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, for example, or, you know, the song from Battle of Studies, Assassin. You know, just great stuff. Look for lyrics, see what intrigues you. I came across this record and read about it once on the blog, so I decided to go with it. And I won't lie, I thought, hey, why not? Because the blogger liked it, and it's on a clear vinyl. You know? And when you get into vinyl, it's fun to have different vinyls. Now, this guy just looks sweet, and I need to know more about jazz. And I go very slowly and very carefully with jazz records, because I'm nowhere near anyone else who does it. But the back is very interesting. You know, you have the artist's names over here with the colors, and you have these poetries that are on here. And, you know, just Visit with the Great Spirit was a name that intrigued me, and so was the artwork. I love female singers, so Mo Maguire was a good hit for me. Now these guys are named Uncle Wiggily, Jump Back Baby. Now when you see a record like this with a sleeve like this, for me I think, okay, these guys are probably some sort of indie guys, you know? Also, if you enjoy this, another thing I like that interests me is seeing a sleeve that's pretty bare, you know? It doesn't really even have much of the record's information in terms of the label. Or if you see something like this, or you see a label on a record that's like the pictures, artwork and stuff, and it just doesn't have any information about the album, it's pretty interesting to me. New label I never heard of called Team Beat. It's good stuff, and I don't have much of that type of stuff in collection. I'm not the biggest indie person. This was a gift for me from one of the guys in the community. His name is James, and his username is Skate or Die My Ass. This is jazz music, famous jazz hit. Now if you open this up, it's a gatefold. It's an amazing football. So it's good music. Oh, I talked about this. Check out my video from last couple weeks on my thread, my first thread on music that you love but can't explain. Again, artwork, great artwork, folky. You can tell it's folky from the stuff that's on here. Yeah. So those are my current listens that are from the stuff I already had. Down below here is my little section I put for the things I pick up that I need to get to, and then over here is what I've collected. So what you're looking at from here to here to here is what I have collected since November, after what I've decided to keep, because I do trade-in stuff. I'm closing on my 15 minutes, so I'm going to end on that. But yeah, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, especially Donna. This video is for you, so I hope you really appreciate it and get something out of it. And just go with it, you know, like Zeke the Geek said on your thing. Music comes to you. You don't come to music. It finds you. I'm not the biggest Beatles person. When I got vinyl, started listening a little bit more. Still not that big, but I like them, you know. It comes to you. So you'll be good. Just keep on doing. Keep your innocence. Keep it well. Keep digging in the crates.